Hello, Oracles. Well, unfortunately, it is a Ron Burgundy kind of day today. We were looking good, actually. We were looking very green for the majority of the day, and then oil prices started to go up, and in turn, the market decided to turn down. It wasn't a huge red day, and it was just a little bit into the close, and we know why it was caused, so kind of stinks, why oil prices are going back up again. But it's happening, so that's why the market came down a little bit, and Tesla itself broke $1,100 again, was looking good, and then we had the fall at the end of the day with the entire market, and again we closed under $1,100. Not really a big deal though. I'll go into more detail in the morning about it, but I'm kind of liking how we're holding where we're holding. Again, we'll go into more detail about that in the morning. But the whole rest of the market came down a little bit. We'll see how it goes tomorrow. It is the last day of the quarter, so we're not sure. At this point, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of rebalancing going on, so we may see kind of a flat day tomorrow right before we get into the new quarter. Some good news that came out for a lot of EV companies, mining companies. President Biden decided he's going to invoke the Defense Production Act for key materials and metals needed for batteries, as we are clearly seeing a battery shortage. Now, knowing the president's affinity for the UAW, this is telling me that there is a strong struggle going on with Legacy Auto to get batteries up and running. Tesla, and Elon has already stated himself that batteries are going to be a challenge after the semiconductor shortage, but we have a lot of battery producers who are going to be putting up factories in the next few years, and Tesla is going to be producing their own batteries, hopefully with the Cyber Rodeo. More information about the 4680 battery progress. But companies like MP Materials, LAC, we've got SLI, all of these should do very well. MP popped nicely on the news today. They've actually been climbing very nicely. I had them channeled initially when I first invested in them last year, between 30 and 40. They then broke past that and then started to channel between 40 and 50. So they fell back down when we had the huge sell-off between January and March. They fell down to the 30s again, so I started to dollar cost average my way back in, and then recently they have popped over 50, and today shortly for a brief moment went over $60. So if you are looking for a sort of a mining type material play as we go into the EV revolution, MP Materials is a very solid one. They've been on a bit of a run lately, so I don't know if they're going to see a pullback. Chances are they will. I like MP Materials around 40. Anywhere between 40 and 45 I think is a great buy-in point. At this point it's around 56. So take a look at it. They have a great long-term plan going forward as far as growing the business and supplying all of the materials needed for the motors that go into the EVs. And they do intend on doing a dividend in the future for their shareholders. They still have a lot of reinvesting that they need to do before they get to that point, but that is their intention. So this could be a great long-term play for you if that is a direction you'd like to go. And now one thing to pay attention to as we have been running over the last couple of weeks is pay attention to the RSI. The RSI of many of these stocks that have been running are starting to push into the high 60s. 70 and anything over 70 is considered overbought. So usually at that point is a good signal that we are going to be getting a sell-off to bring that back down. So just something to pay attention to. If we can consolidate in any of these stocks, that would be fine. But we may be due for a little bit of a sell-off just to cool things off a little bit. Again, we don't know how much it's going to be. It doesn't have to, but this is definitely a good indicator to pay attention to as you're trading your portfolio to determine whether you want to buy, hold, or sell. And an important date to pay attention to coming up on April 12th is going to be our March CPI data. That is going to be reflecting some of the inflation that we saw that was caused due to the oil prices going up. And as many of you know who do not have an EV yet, gas prices have not come down while the oil prices have. This means that those prices are still high, and there's going to be other prices and costs associated with that that are also going to be high and reflecting in the CPI data in March. So the question will be, how is that priced into the market right now? Because previously we were much lower with a lower inflation. And I say lower, we were still high with inflation, but it's going to be lower than March most likely. So are we going to get CPI data that comes in around 9, maybe 10%? Is the market going to sell off? Now we've been talking about another pullback coming. Looking at just some of the data that we have, we've got the RSI is pushing a little higher. Last quarter, at the second week of January, we did see a strong pullback in the market. And not to say that's going to happen again this quarter, but history does tend to repeat itself, and inflation is now higher than it was then. We have the Russia-Ukraine war that is still going on, and we have interest rates going up. So the situation realistically right now is a little bit more negative than it was back in January. So just pay attention, again, not to be negative, just kind of pointing out some information that I see in the market that is going to be something I'm going to pay attention to monitor how the portfolio is trading, how the market is trading, perhaps looking for great buying opportunities, because again, if the market does pull back hard at that point, we could see some great buying opportunities. I have been building up my cash reserves over the last few weeks as we've been climbing, so I will be ready to be able to buy on that dip if we get it. And I don't know about you, but I have been dollar cost averaging every day into my favorites, but I haven't been adding any extra, and I do like to buy, so I would not mind it. And again, most of the stocks that I purchase, I am buying for the long term, so that's why I dollar cost average, but I would love to be able to buy more because I see them all doing very well in the future, especially Tesla with the news that they came out with on Monday with a potential split coming up. I would definitely like to add a lot more on a potential dip that's coming up. Let me know in the comments below, if we do get a dip in the next few weeks, are you ready to buy? Do you have cash reserves for this? Or are you just going to hold it, ride it out? Or are you unprepared and maybe you're already all in and you're just going to kind of wait it out and see what happens? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support and feedback. If you have not subscribed, please do so down below. Sign yourself up for notifications. I am over on Twitter at OracleTim1. I share all of the latest Tesla news, pertinent stock market information, and all of my daily trades. Thank you so much. Have a great one.